What matters to me is that you keep doing. I love you always, Mom. Inspire kids to do at 4h.org.
Welcome to Fight for Life, a pro-life radio show discussing the ministry of First Choice Pregnancy Services here in Las Vegas. I'm Deborah, board member and executive director of First Choice Pregnancy Services.
And I'm Jessica, logistics specialist at First Choice Pregnancy Services.
We are ambassadors for the unborn. Welcome to the show.
Hello, friends. Thanks for joining us today here on the Fight for Life. I have a table full of people with me here. We are your ambassadors on behalf of the babies, here to share real-life insights and stories in the fight for the preborn. I'm going to give you stats real quick, and then we're going to jump right into this because we have two lovely ladies with us. And since we have two, we need all the time in the world to talk. Stats. We did 79 tests and 49 ultrasounds last week. Free for the ladies here in Las Vegas. Yesterday we had a lady that walked into First Choice that had arrived from Texas for her abortion. We were a little bit surprised, but we said, well, God really redirected the footsteps of her coming all the way from Texas. So I'm going to ask you guys to be in prayer for this lady. She left and then she came back. And we don't know what the outcome of that will be. She said, well, I'll just see my baby in heaven. And the advocate tried telling her that's not really how that worked. So be praying for this lady from Texas.
Yep.
Ken, go ahead.
Well, hi, and thank you, Deborah. Boy, are we lucky today. We have two ladies. I admire public service. You know, the funny thing was statesmen and stateswomen. Do you say stateswomen? Listen, forget being politically correct. I love them because they are noble people, supposed to be noble people. And we have two very noble ladies here that are wanting to serve our state in their district. Yes. And we're so lucky. We have Guadalupe Reyes from Assembly District 41, yes, right? And Yadusha Williams, Assembly District 29. Yes. And ladies, I'm just so delighted to talk with you and see what's happening.
They're just fresh off a tour at First Choice, too.
Oh, they did? Oh, yeah. Isn't that awesome? Isn't it a wonderful, isn't it amazing? It's just a sanctuary.
Yes, that's a good word, sanctuary.
It's so welcoming. So I really love the fact that it's open to everybody, and it's not having them think like, how can I afford this? Everything is practically free, so it gives that sense of security.
Yeah, and they're staffed by angels.
Absolutely.
I love them. Every time I go there, and I didn't want to go in there because people are at work, but what a wonderful clinic. So if you are in a crisis pregnancy situation, need some help, give First Choice Pregnancy Services a call. Area code 702-294-CARE. That's 702-294-2273. See, Deborah's really smiling right now because I got the number down. Okay, all right. Guadalupe, I'm going to start with you. You are in Assembly District 41. This is going to be your first time ever in Carson City, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so what do you want to do? What do you want to do? How well do you want to? First of all, where is District 41?
District 41 is Las Vegas Boulevard to M Resort, all the way up to Maryland Parkway, Windmill. So I have like this pretty large district. Majority of it is I'm going to have South Point and the M Resort in my district. So that's the most of it.
All right. And man, everything. Oh boy, safe to say you're conservative.
Yes, I am very conservative.
Stop. And so, obviously, you're here because of life issues. You're obviously pro-life.
I am pro-life, yes.
And you believe, obviously, in life at conception. But, I mean...
Life starts at conception.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And you guys are going to be facing, unless God does a miracle, and people wake up and vote the correct way, a Democratic majority, potentially. And obviously, that's something that you want to address.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's we just need to show them the education part of it, and let them know that life does start at conception, and it's precious no matter how you come to be born, whether it's rape or it was planned. Each one of us is a child of God. Amen. And we value that life. I value that life.
Absolutely.
and we all should value that life. And I believe that Pregnancy First gives a lot of options to women, that it's not the only choice, that there are other options.
Right.
And they're there to help us as women and to help the families as well. And so that's my main concern, is just pushing life. Life is definitely...
Well, obviously that's why you're here, obviously.
And it's so
one of my
important because life
platforms.
is on the ballot this year.
That's right.
They are coming after abortion again. That is their main, I would call it a wedge issue, because they don't really have much to go on. So it's us as conservatives that have to stand up for the rights of of life, basically.
And the other thing, Yadusha, I mean, we were talking about it a moment ago. The school system is already inundated with an anti-life message.
Absolutely.
And our children are being inundated with it. Now, you have one or two children. How many children do you have?
I have 4.
You have 4 children, you see. So
Yes.
this hits home.
Yeah, and my kids they did go to a charter school. This is their last year actually in school in Clark County School District. But for one of those are the reasons, because my daughter, she did come home with the paper saying that, hey, we need to take this class. You need to sign to opt out. And we did sign to opt out because the teachers that are educating, quote unquote, educating these children on how to produce life, they're not educating them properly. The videos are very basic and vain. It's telling them, well, these are your options, and it's not really saying, hey, protect yourself as a person and protect yourself if you bring a person into this life. They're literally saying you could be a boy or you could be a girl.
Yeah.
And I don't want my kids learning that.
Right.
That's up to the parents to teach that, not the school.
Oh,
You're
man.
supposed to be teaching them education curriculums.
I love
reading,
that.
writing, arithmetic.
And arithmetic, bring it back to the basics.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's where we're at
They
now.
don't do that.
Now, Yadusha, you're in Assembly District 29. That's what you're
Yes.
running for, and it would be awesome to see you there. Now, where is 29?
So 29 is kind of cricket. It's really funny because it's one of the 4th largest districts, and it's from Black Mountain all the way to Henderson Hospital, from like part of Water Street and Pacific all the way to Sunset, and it's pretty big.
That's a big chunk.
Yeah, it's very big, but the problem is that in my district alone, there's 48,000 people, and just in the last 6 years, every single election, the most that vote is 6,000 people.
Wow.
What?
Yes,
Low turnout.
6,000 people vote out of 48,000 people. And this is just adults, not children. 18 and older, 48,000, and only 6,000 vote in the last 6 years on a consecutive basis.
District 29. Y'all need to get with it.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. You need to vote.
It's crazy, and it's like I'm a notary. I go into people's house all day long, and I ask them even, it's my business, so I'm gonna, I ask them, are you a voter? And they say no. And I'm like, why not? And I tell them what assembly person is, because most people don't even know what an assembly person does.
That's true.
So they don't even vote down the ballot. So I encourage people to, number 1, vote. Number 2, vote down the ballot. Number 3, educate yourself before you vote, because just because someone knocks at your door doesn't mean they're the right person.
Right.
Do your research, because these people are too scared to vote. That's the main reason that I hear. I get a lot of people that are Republicans and say that they're too scared to tell me that they're Republican because they think they automatically assume that I'm a Democrat. So I have to first say, I'm Republican.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, well, I'm Republican too. But because
You're
now
a unicorn.
right, I get that a lot.
Yeah, she does.
And people like, why? And they for the most part, people know that I used to be Democrat because that's predominantly Black culture to be a Democrat. Yes, I used to be a Democrat. And I actually went to Obama rally while I was pregnant, and I'm like, this I want to hear what he has to say to help change our lives. And going to that Obama rally is why I became Republican.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Thank you, President
good
Obama.
Came out of
Yeah, I was like, none of this sounds right. It doesn't feel right. And I'm literally standing there with my 3 toddlers, pregnant, standing next to his Secret Service. And I'm just like, I feel so out of place, discombobulated. I don't feel secure. And I was like, this is not working. So I immediately switched to independent. And I was independent for like a year or two, just to figure things out, because I'm like, all the negative things you hear about Republicans.
Right.
And I was like, but everything that I identify as is in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, if this is all true, well, I'm about to get hit and they about to be like, what? So I registered as Republican, and I started volunteering at the Trump rally, the caucus, everything. I'm a caucus captain for Trump, and I'm like, hey, if they don't like me, they about to love me in a minute.
And I love that. You know, I think there is a renaissance happening in the black community about saying, you know what, we need the values, our traditional values about family and faith, right, and community, right, and coming home. I love it. I love that. Now, okay, Guadalupe.
Yes.
Why on earth are you could be doing a million other things, right? You want to go to Carson City.
I do.
Why?
And you're doing this for a second time.
Yeah, I'm running for a second time. I learned what I did wrong the first time, so now I'm coming back. I started earlier, started door knocking, talking to people one-on-one, really getting to know what their concerns were. So I built my platform based on what my community's concerns were, because I just didn't want to be that candidate to be like, oh, who's that person? You know, I wanted them to know, oh, she's in my community. She came to my door. She listened to what I was saying. And so that's the kind of candidate I wanted to be right off the bat. And so I think I've achieved that. And what she was also saying, and like what she was saying, we're not the stereotypical Republicans. Like when you see us, people think that we're automatically Democrat. I have to say the same thing as well. I'm like, hi, my name is Guadalupe Reyes. I'm a Republican. And they're like, oh, you know, a Republican at my door? And I'm like, yes.
How is that?
Exactly.
How is that possible?
So that is another barrier that we're trying to break, is that, you know, Republicans isn't the straight old white person, you know, not just conservative, has money. That's not what we are. You know, I'm just a mother.
When I'm at events,
Latin,
when I'm at events and I'm going door knocking, people automatically assume that I'm Democrat. And even when I send out text messages, I get response back, not too friendly. And then I'm like, at the top, I said I was Republican. They're like, oh, okay, how you doing? So yeah.
So we gotta get past the stereotypes. That's
definitely. And so
I think that's
definitely
happening.
push that, especially when we're big in our communities. We're not just doing this just for our sakes. We're doing this for the community's sake, not just for Assembly District 29 and 41, but for Nevada.
Right.
We want to make a change all the way around, because as a native of Nevada, I'm just like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
This is not how I was raised, and I can't leave it like this, knowing that I have 4 children out there that will soon be adults. And it's unfortunate that my oldest is only 14, and she knows more than most adults I come across. It's scary.
Yeah.
So we definitely need to make a change.
Good job, Mama.
Man, I love that. Are you hearing this? So now, of course, first choice, we cannot publicly and officially endorse any candidate for
and
public
actually, we'd
office.
like to invite your opponents on the air, because we'd love to get some people to come on and talk to us and own the child sacrifice that they support. And have that conversation. So there's an open invitation to anybody in Las Vegas running for office that would like to come speak.
And defend yourself.
Defend your position. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, okay, so tell me something. You know, on your, I was looking at your website prior to coming on. Didn't get to yours yet, but you were talking about on life issues. You were talking about the 14th Amendment, right? You believe that life is constitutionally protected, you know, and that this doesn't extend from consent. It goes all the way to our elderly and those that are disabled.
The most vulnerable, I say.
Yeah.
The most vulnerable.
And and I mean, is that a position that you've always had, or is that something that you've acquired over time? Education? How'd that happen?
It's something I've always had. Just growing up, I've always had the need to just take care of people. And my father was one of those vulnerable elderly people. He passed away about 10 years ago. But just to protect the elderly, what I mean is against scams, things like that. Because as we know, right now, desperate times, people are doing really desperate things, and our elderly are becoming most vulnerable to scams, bank account scams, and just all kinds of scams. So that's what I was speaking about. And my mother-in-law actually was one of these people, and she just received a random text, and she replied to it, and 30 minutes later, they took out $10,000 from her bank account.
Wow.
And she tried really hard to get it back, and it took a lot of time to do that. And so my main thing was just to let people know what's happening with the elderly and how they're most vulnerable, and how we need to come up with laws that make it stricter when you do target senior citizens, because the money that they have and what they live on that's it, you know. And so when you target them, you're targeting their whole life. That's everything they have.
Absolutely.
And so I believe that definitely the criminals who but target, you know, the elderly should be held to higher standards and higher.
Absolutely.
Dasha, you had some interesting conversation that you passed along at First Choice about fathers.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue is that people look at women because they're carrying the child, but they don't think about the men that's involved with the child. They helped create the child.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to actually reach out to the father as well, as they're uneducated just listening to people in the biggest demographic of the minority community, whether it's Hispanic or Black. Men are more likely to listen when it comes to a child than a woman, because they're not the one carrying that child, but they're going to be the one supporting and taking care of that child. So when you bring the men back into society and stop isolating them like they're just breeders, then we will be able to save more children. They need to be able to take the reins. That is the root of the problem, is that they're isolating the men like they do not matter.
Wow.
We need to make a change.
We need to promote more say family traditional
Absolutely.
programs where the men and women can get together and find a solution, like what she was saying.
And that's actually what I'm working on now, because like I was telling you, I'm the Nevada State Director for Blexit. And Blexit is a nonprofit organization.
Is that the Candace Owens?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And so I right now I have about 4 city coordinators in the Valley. We just start working on it this past month. And one of the things that I let them know, the first thing we are going to do is reach out to men. We need to let the community know that men matter, men are important, and they're valued. So we're actually going to do a park event called Dad Olympics for Father's Day. And it's just getting men out with their children, seeing that it's involved, getting as many pictures and videos as possible, because we're going to set up a whole tour about men being involved with their children, men taking the lead, men showing that they're there and they're present, because society has taken that away from us, and we need to take it back. We need to put our mark down and say, these men matter. And right now, men do not matter.
Yeah, we have women's rights.
Yeah,
and
there's no men's rights.
exactly.
And men are, they're the foundation of everything. There's God, then men. We are the rib. So we need to give them back what's rightfully theirs, let them lead, and let men have a voice again. Because right now it's women this, women that, women this, and they wonder why majority of homelessness is men, because you're taking everything from them. Their children, their money, their homes, their respect. They need it back. And I'm giving it to them.
Yeah.
Hey, let's bring the men back. I'm all in favor of that.
I mean, if the men stood up on this issue alone, they'd make a difference.
Absolutely.
And that
Yeah.
is a very, very true
Well,
statement.
reproductive rights include men.
Absolutely.
And we're just
Yeah.
talking about women, but we should be including men if we're talking about
That's all
reproductive
they
rights.
talk about is women, and it's like men take a huge part of it. And just looking at these people that are getting paid to have these signatures to get rid of women's rights, as what they say, a lot of these men that's out there, they're doing it for income, not knowing the actual result of it. And when they come up to me asking me to sign these papers, I let them know that is not for to protect women's rights. It's to abort children up to 9 months.
Right.
And just in the last, I would say since March, I've had at least 10 men quit. I've and just going door knocking and talking to people, I've registered at least 50 Democrats to Republican because they're like what they're doing, they did not know. They're uneducated, uninformed, and that's not what they're pushing on social media or on the news. The agenda is so wrong, and we need to make a firm stand saying we matter, men matter, and we need to stop letting the news tell us what's true. Do your own research.
Yeah.
Men do matter.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to get a shirt that says MMM. Men matter.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be a good idea?
I was at an event just a couple of weeks ago, a political event, and there was a older guy that I started talking to, mid-70s, and we started talking about abortion, and he said, well, like he wasn't qualified to speak into it because he was a man.
You're more than qualified.
And I said,
more than
well,
qualified.
it requires a man to create a baby.
Right.
And he was like, well, okay. So we started talking about it, and then he ended up telling me, I'm going to make a confession to you I haven't made to anybody since I was 17 years old. Ended up telling me that he had a girlfriend then, and she got pregnant, and they took her for an abortion, and how it ended up breaking up their relationship.
Oops. Yeah.
And how it's one of the biggest things he wished he could take back and change in life. And so I told him, I said, this extra qualifies you to speak into this issue.
Yeah.
It's affected your entire life. You should speak into this. And he was like, but he had heard the whole societal points of it's not a man's issue, you don't have anything, regardless of having lost a child to it.
Right.
So, all right. Well, one of the other things that I wanted to mention is that you guys are both part of the same organization called Moms for Liberty.
Yes.
Now
Great organization.
we love Moms for Liberty.
I know
in
they
case
asked to
in
join
case
over here.
Christiane Murch is watching us live, we want to make sure that we tell them how much, and we do. We absolutely love her. And
yes.
so, tell me if everything could, happen that you would like to see happen, who would you like to see serving with you in Carson City? I mean, do you have some folks that the public needs to be aware that, hey, there's some really excellent candidates out there? Does anybody come to mind?
Oh, yeah.
yes.
There's one right here.
Here we go.
We have Yadusha Williams.
Right.
Patriot.
Guadalupe Reyes.
I love all patriots. I'm a patriot candidate myself, so I support other patriot candidates, which would be Yadusha Williams, Assembly District 29, Dr. John Petrick, Assembly District 21, Kelly Quinn, Assembly District 5, Socorro Keenan, Assembly District 16, myself, of course, Guadalupe Reyes, Assembly District 41. There's so many.
Bob Olson,
yes.
Assembly District 17.
I hope
Is
we
it-
get the district right. Yes, 17.
Bob Olson is amazing.
Bob Olson.
And there's Rachel. I wish my daughter was here. She's actually my daughter's teacher, and she's running for trustee in District A.
Oh, yeah, Rachel.
Puena.
Was that
Puena.
Dominguez?
Yeah,
No.
Puena.
Puena.
Wait, no, that's right.
It was
Yes.
the one that had a problem last week with
That's
the
right.
last
That's right. That's
name.
right.
Yeah, she's
Awesome.
amazing. It was funny because we didn't know each other was running, and I told my daughter, "Give this to your teacher because I've seen her poster," and she was like, "Oh, I know her." And then we still didn't click till like a week later, but yeah, she's amazing. And then there's Frank Friends that's running for
Yes.
trustee in District C.
Okay.
He's
awesome.
He's a true go-getter.
There you go.
We're about out of time, ladies. Thanks for coming in
Thank
today and
you.
touring and joining us on this. How do people find you guys?
You can actually Google me. I'm everywhere. I have a podcast that I interview candidates. So you can literally Google Yadusha, Yadusha, or go to my website at williamsfornv.com.
And same for me. My website is Guadalupe Reyes, FOR, Reyes at gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
Yes.
There you go. And so there you are.
We have this event that we want to plug next week. We will have Pastor Porter on speaking specifically into this event. It's a big event on June the 22nd. The Imago Day is going to be at the Palace Station. The keynote speaker is Seth Gruber. If you've never heard Seth, look him up. He has a podcast. He's a phenomenal voice for the unborn out there. But this event that they're having is really a well-rounded event to equip you and educate you in all areas of the pro-life movement. So check out their website. It is
Imago. It's spelled Imago D-E-I. Imago
Day.
Day. And the letters aren't right. It's imagodayconference.com.
Yeah.
So imagodayconference.com. And you got to register. There's a little fee. Lunch will be provided. Great speakers. You're going to be speaking.
I'm part of a panel.
And, I mean, there's going to be some wonderful folks that are going to be there, including Pastor Porter.
So we'll speak on that next week. That will be our show dedicated to this. So make sure that you tune into this and share it with your friends. Thank you guys for joining us today, for praying for us, and for supporting us. We will see you next week. God bless you.
Bye, everybody.
Bless you.
Bye.
Thanks for joining your ambassadors for the unborn on the Fight for Life radio today and every Thursday on KKVV 1060 AM, the best news radio, the gospel airship.
If you'd like to support the cause of saving unborn babies, or if you have a question you'd like us to answer on the air, go to fcpsfriends.org or call us at 702-294-CARE. Again, that number is 702-294-2273.
On behalf of his little ones, thank you and God bless.